And welcome back to the Sami Owens Show. I am your host, Sami Owens, and today I'm here with my older brother, Chris. Welcome to the show today.
Hello, everybody.
So, just a quick note before we get started. As you can see, my other brother is not here right now. He's over at a friend's house, but what brings you onto the show today?
Well, I was happily invited, and new experience. I don't have anything on YouTube or anything. I know I have a TikTok, but I just don't have anything posted on YouTube. So
I
this
will,
is this is a first time experience for me.
yeah, and we can get to the plugging of your Twitch account when we're done with the interview, uh, basically. But what did you want to talk about today?
What do you feel like talking about?
All right, well, I know that whenever a wrestling event rolls around, like WrestleMania, Backlash, Money in the Bank, there's this one person that you get frustrated with every time he wins, and that's Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
And I know that you say it to me a lot, but you don't like the way that he wins.
there's different ways that he can win. Like I understand that most most competitors they have someone to come and help them, but it comes to a point where they like don't need it all the time and like they should fight it on their own. He's talking about he's the big dog and he's the tribal chief and all that.
Right.
And but he needs his cousins to come and save him every time. Like you're not a tribal chief if you're having people do your dirty work for you.
Well, to be fair, he has won matches on his own as the tribal chief. He beat Sami
Right.
Zayn on an episode of SmackDown. He beat Braun on an episode of SmackDown. Uh, I think he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania on his own. I honestly
I
don't
think I
remember
think
that
you're right
match at
about
all.
that. I think you're right.
Uh, I think he beat Cesaro on his own. Either that or Seth Rollins got involved. I forgot the ending to that match as well.
I think you're right. I think Seth Rollins did get involved.
But either way, there have been some moments where he's actually beaten people on his own without the help of the Usos, Solo Sikoa. And I just realized that my border is on the screen. My bad. But yeah. Anyway, I do agree with you that it gets old when he wins in the exact same way as most of his matches. However, sometimes they do it to advance the storyline. Like with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. You could see the tension between uh, Roman and Jey Uso when Jey was kind of hesitant to help out.
Yeah, but like on a recent episode of SmackDown, they were talking about the bloodline is stronger than ever, and there's no cracks in the bloodline and all this and all that. So I'm wondering if they're even gonna do anything with that, or if they're just gonna keep doing what they do.
Well, there's something that happened on, I believe, the past episode of SmackDown, where Paul Heyman said that Sami and Kevin will lose the Undisputed Tag Team Championship because Roman Reigns is getting sick and tired of the two of them. However, he looked at
Yeah, and
the Usos
he was looking at the
when he
Usos.
said
I
that.
saw that.
So that could lead to Roman Reigns banishing the Usos if they failed to regain the tag titles.
Do they even know when they're are they fighting at the next pay
No,
per
they're
view
not
those
fighting.
titles, or is it?
It's going to be the first SmackDown, like when the draft is happening.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure if they're going to have that as the opener or the main event, but either way, uh, it's on the first night of the draft, and I honestly can't wait for that match because they had match of the weekend, in fact, match of the year in my opinion at WrestleMania.
Yeah, honestly, I think night one was way better than night two.
Oh, absolutely, by a long shot. Because you had Rhea versus Charlotte. They put on an absolutely amazing match. Now, if the build was better for that match, I could see why people would want it to be the main event. But Sami and Kevin versus the Usos, the storyline was just perfect. They had a 5-star match, in my opinion. And there, it, it was the most important tag team match in any wrestling company ever.
Right.
Well, yeah, then we had Austin Theory versus John Cena, the biggest star in modern day wrestling, versus a young up and comer, and John Cena puts over someone who potentially could be the face of the company like 5 years from
Right.
now, maybe 10. I don't know.
But that's what John Cena does, though.
Right.
He makes his opponent look better because he wants them to be better
Exactly.
and to watch them grow.
Right. He did it with Roman
That's just
Reigns,
what his character
Kevin
is.
Owens, uh, even with his U.S. Championship Open Challenge. He could not have a bad match with any of the people that and that accepted it. Like when Sami Zayn accepted it. He got injured during his entrance, but he still put on an amazing match. Uh,
Right.
when Kevin Owens accepted, they have amazing chemistry. Uh, Neville, Wade Barrett, Seth Rollins. I guess I could throw in Alberto Del Rio, even though I can't stand the guy.
Where's he at now? Alberto
Uh,
Del Rio.
Honestly, I have no idea these days. Maybe prison.
Maybe prison.
Well, yeah.
That was good.
Uh, the only, and well, I can't really say the only thing that made Night Two of WrestleMania amazing was the triple threat match, because there were some great matches on Night Two. However, the triple threat match between Sheamus, Gunther, and Drew McIntyre stole the show for that night.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad match.
It was just three big meaty men smacking meat, in the words of Big E.
I wonder what they're gonna do with Cody Rhodes. I wonder what they're
Well,
planning on doing with him.
he's fighting Brock Lesnar at Backlash.
They're gonna be like any kind of build up for that, or they're just for fun,
Other
basically.
Well, on the Raw after WrestleMania, it was it was supposed to be Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes and a mystery partner. Brock was revealed as that partner, but before the match started, Brock attacked Cody, and honestly, I think the build-up has been pretty good so far.
I think that's gonna be a good match between those two.
Right. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to have Cody Rhodes go over or if they're going to have Brock Lesnar go over. Maybe some bloodline shenanigans or something like that.
It could happen.
But I am excited for that.
Because I remember when Brock Lesnar was the WWE champion. I think he was fighting Bobby Lashley
Yep, at the
and
Royal
Roman Reigns
Rumble.
in the match. Yeah, he interfered in the match. So it could possibly be what's going to happen.
But yeah,
I don't know if I can do another. I don't know if I can do another Brock and Roman match. We've seen too many at this point.
yeah, and apparently their match at SummerSlam was supposed to be the end of their rivalry, like permanently. But I don't know if I can believe that.
Yeah, because they fought at didn't they fought at WrestleMania too? Because that's how Roman Reigns became the undisputed
Yes,
champion.
but SummerSlam was this. Yeah, it was this past SummerSlam in that Last Man Standing match,
Oh yeah, okay.
which
Oh,
honestly
I'm thinking about when he came back.
that was a lot.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was a lot more insane than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, Backlash is not looking horrible this year. Like they got rid of the WrestleMania part from the name, which good. It doesn't need to be called WrestleMania Backlash.
I wonder why they even started that.
Vince McMahon.
No, of course.
Huh, you know what? I want to see the Backlash card for this year.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think the only match I know of would be the Brock and Cody match.
Okay, so far they only have 2 matches announced, but they have until May 6th. So they got a couple weeks to figure something out. But yeah, it's Matt Riddle,
Wonder,
Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa and the Usos as the first match. And then Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar.
I wonder if Roman's gonna fight anybody.
He has this pay per view off. However, he will be at Night of Champions, formerly known as King and Queen of the Ring, on May 27th. Fun fact, that will be his 1000th day as champion.
I thought that superstars had to defend their title every 30 days.
They changed that rule a long time ago, and I would say the same thing about like Brock Lesnar back in his reign as Universal Champion.
You got a good point there.
But
You didn't really
they're
defend it all.
basically just main attractions at this point.
That's true.
And speaking of attractions, uh, WWE and UFC are owned by Endeavor. So, do you think we could see any crossovers between WWE and UFC?
You know, I would do anything to see. I'd like to see Brock and Conor McGregor go at it.
Yes, I've been wanting to see that match or fight for years. Like, I doubt it would happen in UFC because weight classes,
Right.
but that would be freaking awesome.
Especially about all the trash talking you talked about WWE.
Right.
For him to be in a WWE match.
Then maybe we could get Logan Paul in a UFC octagon.
Yeah, too bad he won't win.
Who's the UFC heavyweight champion right now?
Uh, that is a good question.
Apparently John Jones is. So maybe we could get
Oh,
Roman Reigns versus John Jones for all the gold.
yeah, I wonder who would win that match. Roman.
Depending on where it takes place. WWE, obviously Roman. UFC, I think John Jones would have it there. Unless they did like a best 2 out of 3, like one happens in WWE, one happens in UFC, and then the others could happen in just like a back alley behind a Waffle House or something.
I mean, hey, that's what they want to fight.
But
That
honestly,
fight needs to be
there's a
awful.
lot of possibilities for this new partnership they have.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where they go with that. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Right. You know what? I have an idea. Vince McMahon versus Dana White.
Oh, Dana White's got him.
Oh, absolutely. But speaking of like celebrity matches, remember Snoop Dogg versus The Miz?
Oh yeah,
That was funny.
he had that coming.
Like, I feel bad for Shane McMahon tearing his quad on his first night back, and just to be replaced by Snoop Dogg. That's gotta suck for him.
Yeah, he was also inducted to the Hall of Fame like however long ago.
Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, they always pick a celebrity every year to be a Hall of Famer.
Which I mean, that's not a bad thing. Because with how often they do uh these little cameos of celebrities, it brings in more people to view it. Like that's why they had Cyndi Lauper at WrestleMania 1.
Now with the WWE Hall of Fame,
Right,
do you
but
ever wonder when Batista's inducted?
oh yeah, honestly I kind of thought it was going to be this year because they were in Hollywood and he's a movie star now.
Yeah,
In fact, I also thought it was either going to be like Batista or The Rock being the headliner this year. But I'm happy for Ray. He deserves this so much.
I'm just glad the Rock's not there.
But yeah,
I can't stand him as a superstar. As an actor, he's a good actor, but as a WWE superstar, not so much.
yeah, but I honestly think next year it will be. I like these are my predictions for the headliners of the next few years. The Rock for next year, then Batista, then John Cena, then Randy Orton. So 24, 25, 26, 27.
I really hope Randy Orton doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame anytime soon.
I mean,
I think, well, can, like even if you get inducted to the Hall of Fame, you can still wrestle, right? Because you
right,
didn't fully retire.
right, because Rey Mysterio is still competing.
Uh, yeah,
In fact, he's the second ever wrestler to be inducted while being an active member of the roster. First one was Ric Flair, but he was going to retire at WrestleMania 24 anyway.
right.
And he had that whole storyline. I don't know when it started, but it was basically just where if he lost the match, he would retire, and he lost to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, didn't he also have like another match, like I think like last year, where it was his like very last match?
We don't talk about that,
We don't talk about that.
and we don't talk about his TNA run either.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in TNA.
But yeah,
First time
Mysterio is
I paid
still
attention.
yeah Rey Mysterio is still competing. So speaking of Rey, I think he's going to be teaming up with Bad Bunny to face the Judgment Day in Puerto Rico at Backlash.
Oh, another Ray and Dominic Mysterio match.
I mean, their match at
He
WrestleMania
didn't
was entertaining.
he didn't learn his lesson from WrestleMania,
Now he's still playing victim,
of course.
but it's just funny to see because Dominic is just getting so much heat, and I love it. Like back when he was teaming with Ray, people were getting tired of him, but I saw potential in him. I knew that he was going to be a big star one day, and Look at him now. Part of
I think
one of the
I
best
think some
factions.
wrestlers are better as heels.
Right. Like Dominic Mysterio, Randy Orton, uh, The Miz, MJF, but he's in AEW. Uh, yeah, there's actually a long list I could go through.
You can't you can't forget to mention the best heel of all,
And who do
and that
you.
would be CM Punk, my good sir. CM Punk was the best heel. As much as you hate the guy, he was such a good heel. He played it so well.
Okay, I will admit, he is easy to hate, so that does give him points for being a good heel.
Man, I've been a CM Punk fan for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, and you remembered his pipe bomb from memory. Like,
That I
I don't know
did.
how long ago. And if I'm not mistaken, you probably still remember it.
I think I know bits and pieces now, but it's
Right.
been so long since I've like heard it.
And also his straight edge pledge. Like, that's how
Yes.
big of a CM Punk fan you are. You could recite both of those from memory. And even along with him when we were watching those moments.
And no matter where CM Punk was, I was always there with him.
Yeah, I just don't like how he makes enemies so easily and like no matter where he goes. Like Ring of Honor, he had a horrible ending with them. WWE, horrible ending with them. UFC, he got fired because well, okay, that time it wasn't really his fault. It was whoever he was facing at the time.
Yeah, he could have easily ended that fight, but he was just playing with him. And Dana's like, yeah, that's enough. And actually, his opponent was tested positive for get drugs in the system.
Oh,
So they took his win away, and I think they just put it as a tie.
let's see, CM Punk UFC record. Oh no, they just
If
labeled.
I
Uh, I don't know. Was it
if I
against
remember right,
Mike
it was
Jackson?
Mike. Yeah, there we go, Mike
Yeah,
Jackson. That's who.
they just counted that as a no contest. So
Yeah,
it's
because his
not
first
really. Yeah,
match.
it's not really a draw. They just basically don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, because he only had two fights. He had one with Mickey Gall
Yep,
and then
which he
Mike
lost.
Jackson.
Wow, that Mike Jackson
But he
fight
also
went 3 rounds.
he went into the sport with no experience either. He started from
That
ground up.
that is true, and it is quite impressive when you can go into the UFC with no experience and can actually last a while against some people who've been doing it for years.
Yeah, he's got a documentary on YouTube about it. Have you watched it?
I have not.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's pretty good.
Alright, I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah, he talks about like his personal life, his wife, his dog, uh, his training. Yeah, did he? I think he did like a make a wish. He met up with a fan, and because he recently written a comic book, and he got to hang out with the kid all day, and he signed the comic book for him. They took some pictures and stuff. So just, I mean, yes, his character, as a
Mm-hmm.
heel, but once you get to like know him as a person, you can see him like outside of his business. He's not such a bad guy like people like to think he is.
Well, to be fair, that incident at the, I believe it was the All Out press conference, where he basically just went off script and just just was talking a lot of crap about the Elite, the company, Tony Khan. And Tony Khan did nothing at first, which not really a smart idea if you're a business owner.
Well, also think about it this way: that's his ticket. That's where he's getting his money at.
True, however, Tony Khan should have handled that whole situation better.
He could have, but he's still new. He's not fully,
Right.
he's not at
However,
that Vince McMahon level.
I understand that he's a newish business owner. I think he helped his father run the Jacksonville Jaguars for a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and uh, like not from a business owner perspective, but as a person, he should have been like, "Hey, you might want to tone it down and just made sure that it didn't escalate to that brawl and uh, suspending some of his top stars. Like CM Punk had to vacate the AEW championship, and the Elite had to vacate their trios championship, which both
Right.
of they all won those titles that night. So that put a stain on the legacy of both championships. And that was the first night that the Trios Championship existed.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I heard that he's supposed to be coming back to
Well,
AEW.
I don't like getting into the speculations and rumors and all that stuff, but if he does come back, I just hope he can turn it around and actually find a way to work with the Elite or whoever he has issues with.
Well, it's mostly that people have an issue with him. It's because he's brutally honest all the time. If he doesn't like something, he's gonna call you out on that.
Right, but there's more professional ways to deal with that.
You got a good point. I mean, with when CM Punk was doing what he was doing with in the WWE, all he wanted was a main event at WrestleMania. And
Right.
Vince McMahon and Triple H were just not giving that to him. So instead of his, because Undertaker always does his main event,
Mhm.
so it's like the biggest match of every WrestleMania. I think his match was like mid card because they put John Cena and The Rock as the main event, and
Oh,
all he wanted was just event title match or main event match at WrestleMania.
let's see, WrestleMania 28. One second. Yeah, they had John Cena versus The Rock as the main event for that WrestleMania because they're two of the biggest names in wrestling, and it was a dream match for many. Plus, they had that year-long feud to build up to that moment, so it was the first match even announced because they announced it the night after WrestleMania 27. So, on the topic of where CM Punk was, okay, so that was the match right before the main event. And I kind of understand why they did John Cena versus The Rock in the main event of the following year because John Cena won the Royal Rumble. That makes sense. Royal Rumble winners should main event or be close to the end of the show.
Right.
Like, I can understand if the feud wasn't that good on why they wouldn't put it in the main event. But sometimes you just gotta take it into perspective on like how each feud is doing on their storytelling and like how often are they fighting with each other. Like
I
for
don't think that The Rock is like I don't think that's like one of the biggest names in wrestling. If anything, it's either Undertaker or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
which I respect that. Both of them are
Like I think Stone Cold on my list is higher up than The Rock is.
honestly same here.
Like yeah, he gave good promos and stuff like that, but he's just I don't think his wrestling was that good.
Oh, and when it comes to WrestleMania 29, CM Punk versus The Undertaker was the seventh match overall. Like, if we don't count the pre show, it would have been the sixth out of eight.
6 out of 8 matches. Is that what you said?
Yeah, if we're not counting The Miz versus Wade Barrett on the pre show, there was The Shield versus Big Show, Randy, and Sheamus, Mark Henry versus Ryback, Team Hell No versus Dolphin Big E, Fandango versus Chris Jericho, Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger, The Undertaker versus CM Punk, Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, and then John Cena versus The Rock. Which, to be fair, that match should have been placed better because that's three huge matches back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I can see why people think it should have been the main event when it was placed next to those matches. But some people think it gets overshadowed because it was one of Brock's biggest losses since returning to the company. And John Cena and The Rock were fighting for the WWE Championship, which is the most prestigious championship in the company. But the way I think about it, uh, Brock versus Triple H should have opened the show. Then
You
pushing
think so?
some of those matches down. Then having like either John Cena versus The Rock or Undertaker versus CM Punk being like one of the matches before the main event, but there'd be like a match in between those just to kind of get the fans to cool down before the main event happened.
Yeah.
Or they could have just added CM Punk to uh, the main event. Like, yes, I understand he lost his rematch against The Rock at Elimination Chamber. However, they also had a match on Raw between John Cena and CM Punk where the winner would go on to face The Rock. I kind of feel like if they would have added CM Punk to that match, he would have stuck around with the company much longer.
That could be.
But yeah, from where it was placed, I can kind of see why it didn't main event. But the way that the match order was booked is just really sloppy. Because they have their three biggest matches basically just closing the show. But yeah, uh, do you think CM Punk would ever return to WWE?
No.
Like, even if
There's no
he,
way.
like,
There's no way.
honestly, in the world of wrestling, you never say never. Because people thought Cody Rhodes would never return to WWE. But look at him now.
But you also got to think who's in charge.
Currently, uh, Nick Khan is in charge of WWE. Uh, Triple H has a lot of say in things. I don't know what Vince is doing in the company at the moment. But Triple H has matured. He's honestly one of the best wrestling bookers currently going. Because if you look
You
at
can definitely night one of WrestleMania.
yeah, so if you look at his stretch from SummerSlam to WrestleMania, a lot of people have had a lot of great things to say. But if you look before SummerSlam, it was just a lot of people saying like, "Oh, why is Vince still in charge?" Like Triple H knows what the people want. And if he could convince CM Punk to come back, I'm sure he would push him as a top star.
I'd like to see him dethrone Roman Reigns
Yeah, CM Punk versus
because
Roman Reigns.
I don't think CM Punk's ever beaten Roman Reigns, or maybe he has.
I have no idea. You know, we can
Yeah,
find
because
that out.
because CM Punk came up with the idea of this dominant team, and he wanted uh Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Chris Hero. Well,
Oh, Cassius Ohno would have
Vince
been a great choice.
and Vince was not having it. He wanted Roman Reigns, so they stole his idea from him.
But I mean, it was a great choice.
It was,
Like,
and then the shoe broke up. Obviously,
come on, where is it?
like I'm not gonna think the Shield breaking up was probably the best thing that happened because they all three did great in their solo careers.
Well, Dean Ambrose, when it comes to WWE, his solo stuff wasn't as good as the others because he had a short reign with the WWE Championship, while the others have
Yeah,
multiple World Championship reigns. And
yeah.
Ambrose was not taken too seriously.
But wasn't Dean Ambrose a Grand Slam champion? Because I know
Yes,
he was WWE
all
champion, he
three
was
of them
United States
have
champion.
yeah, all of them have been Grand Slam champions. It's just that uh if I'm not mistaken, he might have been the last one to get that honor. Wait, no. No, he was the first one. But that doesn't change the fact that some of his title reigns weren't that good. Like his US Championship reign, he hardly defended the title. Uh, one of his tag team title reigns was basically non existent since he betrayed Seth Rollins that same night.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
His Intercontinental Championship reigns had mediocre defenses. Uh, he had one good match against Dolph Ziggler, then he lost the title to AJ due to a low blow. But he's doing much better in AEW. And
I
if
think so.
if Moxley ever decided to come to WWE, I'm sure he'd be getting a great push. As long as
Do
he
you think
doesn't,
he'd come back as Dean Ambrose or John Moxley?
if he has a say in it, probably John Moxley. But as long as he doesn't bleed in every single match, he should be good. Like, I'm not even kidding. Look back at his matches for the past year and count how many times he has not bled in a match.
Yeah, I feel like AEW is not so sensitive about that kind of stuff.
Right, that's because they're a
Like,
TV
he-
14 company.
yeah, because they can say whatever they want and do whatever they want. Where WWE is more restricted because it's an all ages
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And to be fair, that's the reason why they lost a sponsorship with Domino's. Because it was a match between Chris Jericho and Nick Gage, where one of them was using a pizza cutter on the other, and then a Domino's commercial popped up.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was so freaking funny. But unfortunate timing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss?
Hmm. I'm not really sure.
Alright, and do you have anything you'd like to plug before we hop off?
Hmm. If they want, they can. Because I don't really have a YouTube or I
Right,
have a Twitch account, but I don't have anything posted on that.
right. I mean, you can plug your TikTok if you want.
I can do that.
And we'll tell the people where they can find you.
So they can follow me at Bollin Chris 1031.
Alright, and I will also have that in the link. And I'll have the link in the description down below. But thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of the Sami Owens Show. Please like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to be on a future episode. You can also message me on Instagram at SamiOwens.yt if you want to be on an episode. And I will catch you in the next one.